Hi CrossFit DC, I hope you're enjoying your week so far. We made it to Friday. If you guys weren't already aware, we have the Zoom classes going on still every day, 7 a.m. during the week, as well as the noon class during the week, and then at 6 p.m., and then at 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings, and at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. We're also trying out a virtual happy hour on Fridays, right after the group class. So at 7 o'clock, right following that class that Tom coaches, we'll hop on and hang out. So feel free to join us. It's the same link as the classes. So hope to see you there. So let's get into today's workout. We've got a two-parter today, a little 12-minute AMRAP followed by a very strengthy 4-round section at the end here. So for the first portion, like I said, we've got a 12-minute AMRAP, as many reps as possible of 3 movements, 3 handstand push-ups. Talk about some scaling options there in a minute. 9 V-ups, and then 15 air squats. So for those handstand push-ups, if you have them and you have a safe place to do them, obviously you're just gonna stick with those 3 handstand push-ups. If you are looking for a scaling option for those, we have a list here. So the first option would be 3 wall walks, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. 6 piked push-ups, which I'll also demonstrate, would be another scaling option, or just 9 regular push-ups if all of that upside down stuff is not happening today. So before we talk about the V-ups and the squats, we'll talk about these scaling options we have. So for the first scaling option, that wall walk, you want to kind of find a place where you can safely walk up to the wall. You're gonna set up in a position, kind of this quadruped position here. You're gonna reach one foot up, you'll reach the other foot up, and then maintaining kind of a piked position, squeezing your butt, squeezing your core. You're gonna walk your feet and your hands at the same time, as close to the wall as you're comfortable, and then you'll walk yourself back up. Again, under control. We don't want to see anybody crashing out of the floor during these. Biggest thing there is we want to make sure that we aren't arching in that position, that we're keeping our rib cage tucked as we do those wall walks. Those add up, they're pretty challenging, but 3 of those would be the next scale down if handstand push-ups aren't in the cards. The piked push-up is essentially a push-up where you are kind of in this position here with your shoulders, hips above your shoulders as much as possible. I like to have a target, so maybe an ab mat or something like that in front of me. You're keeping your elbows tracking back as your head comes forward. You're kind of ending in this tripod position, and then as you execute that push-up, you're gonna push back and finish with your biceps by your ears, similar to an overhead pressing movement. You can do those with your feet on a box or a couch or something like that if you would like an elevated version of that, but you can also just do it from the floor like we just demonstrated. So it would be 6 of those. Again, if you need to bail out of that, just kind of let your knees drop to the floor. And again, some sort of target that's going to get your head to go forward slightly, so you're finishing in that tripod position and your elbows can track back, is really what we're looking for. We want to make sure, just like with a handstand push-up, that we aren't coming straight down, that we are, again, letting our head track forward, finishing here, and then pressing forward, and finishing in this good locked out position. And then finally, if neither of those are in the cards, then just 9 regular push-ups, keeping that same thing in mind, letting those elbows track back, keeping those shoulders down and back for those. And then the next movement in this AMRAP, after that pushing option, would be 9 V-ups, and then 15 air squats, and you'll go through that as many times as possible. So if V-ups are still a work in progress, then for those you can just do tuck-ups or regular sit-ups. So try to demonstrate these as long as I can kind of remain in view here. So for the tuck-up, you can do these guys here, returning to this position every time, and then again, regular sit-ups are fine as well, straight leg or otherwise. Then, once we get through that AMRAP, again, 12 minutes total of those 3 movements, as many times as you can, then we are gonna move on to a strengthy piece after we have a chance to recover. So for this piece here, we've got 4 rounds of kind of 2 couplets. We're gonna do a fixed number of movements in the first part, and then AMRAP for the remainder of those 90 seconds, and then move on to the next piece, and then do that sequence 4 rounds through. So in total, it's another kind of 12-minute piece that we're working on here. So for the first half of this, we've got 5 half kneeling dumbbell presses per side, followed by max dips in the remaining time for those 90 seconds. So if you have a dumbbell at your disposal, that would be ideal for these half kneeling presses. For the half kneeling press, you want to think about whichever leg is forward, the weight is going to be in the other side. So you kind of want to think that knee straight up through the arm. This is the side that the weight will be on. So 5 on each side. So from setting up in this position here, keeping your core engaged, and then from here you're pressing straight overhead, finishing kind of fully locked out, really pressing through, and then coming back down. Once you finish those 5 reps, you will switch your foot position as well as the position of the implement that you're pressing overhead. Once you get through those 10 reps, again, you're going to take the rest of that time to do those max dips. So a couple options for the dips. You can either use a couch. So in this particular case here, I could set up just like so and do dips just like we would to a box. If you have a box, you're more than welcome to use a box. You can also set up a set of chairs. The way these are set up here, I would put my hands on the edges here, kind of have my feet in front. I would let my shoulders come forward, kind of like they would for a ring dip. Press myself up. Again, press myself up. And you do as many as you can in that time. Doesn't mean that they're unbroken. It just means that you're kind of taking smart rest and trying to get as much work as you can done. And then for the second piece of this, the other 90-second piece, we have 10 single arm rows per side, followed by max curls with whatever you have to curl with. So with those rows, just want to make sure that we're maintaining a flat back. We've had these in the programming a little bit more lately, but if you're doing some sort of bent over row with a dumbbell, for example, you would unlock those knees, hinge yourself forward, and then execute that row, keeping that shoulder kind of glued back as you come through. If you have something that's a little bit heavier and you need to use kind of both arms to help you with it, if it's a dumbbell in this particular case, you can still set up in that same position, do that bent over row, pull towards your chest, and execute as such. And then once you get through those, again, max curls in the remaining time. Ideally, you have something where you can use both arms at once. If you do have one dumbbell, you can just do maybe a couple reps on one side, a couple reps on the other, kind of being strategic about that. If you have a dumbbell, again, if you have 2, you would just set up with both arms. In this particular case, I just have 1, so I might do maybe 5 on one side and then switch. But again, we're AMRAPing this. Another option would be if you have, a band, for example, you could set that up underneath your feet, set up shoulders back, and then execute as many curls as you can with the band. You can also use a backpack, really anything that you can curl for that. Now this is a pretty strengthy piece. There's no rest in between this, so once you get through the prescribed reps and then the AMRAP, as soon as that clock beeps for that 90 seconds, you're moving right into that second piece. Same thing there. Once you finish the prescribed reps and then the AMRAP of the second movement, you're going right back to that first piece to get through this, a total of 4 rounds through or 12 minutes. So definitely going to be a strengthy piece at the end there. Again, if you have any questions, you guys feel free to email us, shoot us a note on Instagram, or just hop on one of the Zoom classes at 7 a.m., noon, or 6 p.m. and we'll help you out. All right, enjoy the workout, and we'll see you guys soon.